Coming up in this video, types of mediumship. Today, we're talking about message mediumship. So what is evidentiary message mediumship?
That's a mouthful.
And if you have any questions as we go relating to the topic of this video, drop them in the comments.
It's already starting, folks. Yes. And while that's going to be entertaining with some free, juicy information, we do have an offer at the end
to take your metaphysical business from basic to bodacious, but only if it works for you.
Bodacious.
Bodacious. Bodacious.
Let us know where you are watching from and one special thing about where you're at so you can help us when we travel to not act like basically clueless.
Basic, clueless American tourists.
Yeah.
Please help us.
I'm not trying to do that.
Yes. And if you're just getting to know us.
I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
From sunrosegarden.com.
Yes. And out of what we call the 3 pillars of mediumship, which are healing, messaging, and rescue, people can get lost because there are many types and subtypes of mediums other than the popular message mediums that you see on social media.
So once you start intentionally training your particular special spice, you begin defining what you're natural at, and then you go down that rabbit hole. Right.
And you keep going until you define your special spice.
It's like finding your specialty after you've taken the basics of healing, messaging, and rescue. So,
right. And we find that many developing mediums try to force a type of mediumship that may not be what is manifesting and then end up getting discouraged.
So in the world of mediumship, like other trades, being a jack of all trades, master of none is not going to gain you excellence, but finding out what you're first opening up to is great. And then you can develop a lot of other skills after that. So
understanding what you have and what is manifesting more clearly helps you as you build your foundation, as you continue unfolding.
We are going to help you hone in on what message mediumship is, one of the 3 pillars, and what type you might be manifesting, what energy might be manifesting.
Absolutely. And now it's time. Now it's time for the good stuff.
That's right.
Now it's time for the good stuff.
So here we go. Now that we've had our music moment for the morning.
And for those of you who were wondering, yes, we have a music transition moment, sometimes multiple times throughout the live, because we're live and we don't have a backing track.
Well, and it's free because I don't have to pay David for royalties.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you do.
The first part is...
All right. So let's move on to tip number 1, which is mental mediumship information.
So with message mediums, the point is to, of course, contact a loved one, see who's around the person, and bring forth some sort of message and evidence that is particular to that person, so that you can know that it's a legitimate message. And that's sort of the goal of message mediumship. But it manifests in different energies and different mediums. And that's what we're talking about today.
And exactly how message mediums work varies depending on the medium. From medium to medium, it kind of depends on how you unfold and how your special spice is and how your brain is working as far as mediumship goes.
So message mediumship is the category of basically just that, bringing a message to the living, specifically from a loved one that has passed over. Okay. Exactly how message mediums work varies greatly from medium to medium.
Right. And the work in cultivating the skills of message mediumship is learning to be a passive receptacle. I'm just going to stop that right there.
Let me talk about passive receptacle. He's trying to go somewhere weird with it. So that, I think, is the key, because I think if you take away nothing today, being a passive receptacle, which is receiving the information in a passive calm state. So a lot of people who start message mediumship will try to reach for the information. And that's not as effective as being a passive open receptacle.
And that was what I was going to say. Don't reach for it. Don't reach around. Just don't do it. Let it come to you. And that is where the allowance creates more flow.
This is important, because if the steps of unfoldment, as we call it, are not followed, you might be just delivering psychic information,
which is person to person, by the way,
directly from the sitter about their loved one. Psychic information is not just from person to person. Psychic information is the basic. So psychic information is you're receiving information on a psychic channel, either from a person or from a spirit.
Right.
Okay. So that's the difference.
Yeah.
You just threw some different thing in there I had to explain. So you may just be delivering the psychic information directly from your sitter who's with you. So the work of being a passive receptacle is understanding the different energies. So how do you know the difference?
So your client is going to have a certain energy, and you feel that when they come in. When you tap into the client, you're tapping into their energy. You're being aware of what that baseline is. First off, what your baseline is, then what the client's energy feels like.
So with your client who's coming in for a message, you establish a rapport or a connection. You understand what their energy feels like. Then you reach out. I'm not like reach out like I was saying, but then you expand and allow. So their loved one
is also then going to bring a specific energy that is different from the sitter, the person that you're sitting with.
Right. So if you are more of a mental message medium, which is this first kind of category we're talking about. If you are more of a mental message mediumship, you're going to receive messages through what we call a direct impression on the mind of some kind through one of your clairs.
Right. And that's inside of your mind.
Got it.
Mental mediumship.
Let's talk about the second.
The second one is motor message mediumship.
Okay, so this is a phase that we don't talk about often. There are basically three energies in mediumship that you use. There's the mental mediumship and physical mediumship, but there's a phase in between, an energy in between that is called motor mediumship. It sort of bridges the gap between the two. So the second type of message mediumship might use more motor-based mediumship. So if you use motor mediumship phases as a message mediumship, you're going to be using some type of external tool to assist the message in coming through, such as like a pen, a pencil, automatic writing, a typewriter,
pendulum. You could even use a computer.
Right. So with different, if motor mediumship is the way that you bring forth a message, it might look different than a platform mediumship who is just using a medium that is more using the mental phases.
Right.
So with a motor medium, a motor message medium, say that really fast.
Right.
You may have different speeds. You might have different awareness, like a motor medium who's an automatic writer may write and not really have an awareness of what is being written, or might have a lot of speed as they write, like it's coming through so fast that they've got to write it really fast and then convey it to you.
Right. And sometimes it's like the information comes in so much and with so much intensity and just so much information coming in. It's like you get this huge rapid download. And then you have this feeling of, I need to get this out. I need to get it written, or I need to get it out in some fashion. So there's that element too.
So then after that, the message is interpreted. Let's say if you're a motor medium that delivers messages really fast like that, then you would deliver the message after. So that's kind of the second type of message medium.
Right. So just to clarify, you've got mental mediumship, which is inside of your head. You've got physical mediumship, which is external and outside of the individual in the physical world.
Which we're going to talk about in the next step.
And then you've got motor mediumship, which is somewhere in between.
Right. It sort of
just to more clarify. Right. Val says, Healing Pro, #Healing Pro. I want to be more confident on my abilities before going professional.
Yes.
We definitely recommend that. And then Wild Magic says, practice on your friends as often as they'll let you, Val. Yes, definitely. We actually did a video on like the progress from going from an interest to a hobby to a professional. That was in another video that we did. Yes, I do try this, not as often as I should though. And Val, don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't worry about going pro before you're ready. When you're ready, you'll definitely know.
So it can take years of dabbling in different types of mediumship because you've got to try a lot of things to see what you're really good at. You might be trying to deliver messages in a traditional way, and that might not fit for you. You might actually be an amazing motor medium and you didn't even know it. You haven't even tried it.
Right.
So until it sparks and you find your special spice, keep experimenting.
Yes, playing.
So for instance, after years of study and practice,
when we met,
healing mediumship kind of became our primary focus, and that kind of skyrocketed. Within our healing mediumship, we'll do messaging and rescue and different types of things, but our primary is healing.
And we were like, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So out of that, we found that we had something that we call catalyst mediumship. You can't Google it. It's not available.
Well, in the old days, they called it developing mediumship.
Right.
So a developing medium it's an old school term, but it really means a medium that helps other people
teaching
develop
and helping others to access and open their mediumship. Okay.
So it's not about forcing the ability that you want or your ego wants. It's about learning the craft, the basics and foundations of the 3 pillars.
Following what is opening for you and unfolding into the best medium that only you can be. And once you find that special spice that is yours, go deep, don't go wide, master it.
So when I talk about cards, because a lot of mediums...
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So a lot of mediums use cards.
Not a lot, but some.
Okay. So a lot of mediums use cards in their readings. I've seen people do it. But that, even though that's an external tool, it's not considered motor mediumship.
Right.
So reading cards itself is not mediumship. If you're reading and there's mediumship information, yes. But so cards, even though it's an external tool, is not a motor mediumship thing. It's mediumship can come into play. But if a medium uses cards to assist their mediumship, it would be more mental mediumship.
Right, because you're still using the cards, but you're not using them as an extension of the motor function.
Right.
You're using them as a trigger for your mental mediumship, for your internal mediumship. So it is poll time. We want to know which one excites you the most right now. Healing, rescue and transition, or messaging mediumship. Which one of those really blows your mind and makes you like super excited? Let us know in the comments.
So let's go on about physical message mediumship, because that's the third part I want to talk about. So energies are mental mediumship, motor mediumship, and finally physical mediumship, sort of in order of the amount of energy that you use. And a lot of people are like, I want to be a physical medium, I want to be a physical medium, but you have to build the energies. So if you try to force into physical mediumship before you've built the stable foundation of mental and then through the phases, you're building your sense of energy. And physical mediumship often doesn't look like some people think it does.
Right.
So
in the physical phases of message mediumship, more of the body's energy is used, and the medium must be able to let go and relax more than in mental mediumship. You got to trust and surrender to that energy.
So traditionally, physical phases of mediumship are more taxing, but the more of your self-work that you release and the less fears that you have, the more you work on, the less taxing it actually is.
Right. In other words, when you surrender and you flow with it instead of fighting it or trying too hard or reaching out too much, then the less taxing it is. It can actually become the opposite. It can become more exhilarating and more energizing as you release more of the things that block you and that bring you out of your center, out of your flow.
So for me, when physical mediumship, I started using more physical mediumship, it was a little bit more taxing energetically. Now I absolutely love it, because when I feel the flow, it's actually energizing.
Right.
So the thing that drains your energy is the fear and the attachment. So physical phases include many different ranges of trance work.
Right. And trance mediumship is something that most of us are pretty familiar with when you've got the full body trance channel. And they're very fun, right?
But that's not what it looks like. So the full body trance channeling is actually kind of a rare extreme end.
Right.
And you've got many different ranges on the continuum of trance.
But I was saying that's kind of the extreme example. That's
right. But I mean, it's not a lot of times that full body trance channel, it takes many years to establish and to master it. And really it's a lot easier to do mediumship in one of the other ranges of trance.
Right.
But this is like the gold thing everybody wants, but is it that useful really? You can do a lot more good with different phases.
These are fun because in trance work, from all the way from that full body trance channel to other elements of trance work, you're able to more easily blend and meld with the energy of the loved one, and messages can be delivered that are more visceral, more tangible, more emotional, more empathic, more personal, because the medium is directly feeling and experiencing the loved one firsthand instead of just in the mental realms of direct impressions.
So basically physical mediumship, that extreme end that everybody thinks it looks like the full body, I'm channeling this group of big entities and all of this stuff. It's really more intimate and personal and easier to access if you're just like feeling the energy of the loved one. So on the simplest basic physical mediumship is you're feeling the loved one's energy in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Something physical is happening and you're making a physical connection.
Right.
So a medium may use a combination of all three physical, mental, and motor phases. Right. It really just depends on how it synergizes within the unique individual. And most mediums are going to use a combination of mental and physical mediumship. Yep. So when people come and they were like, I want to be a physical medium, you don't really know how you're going to unfold. The thing to understand is you got to learn the basics and then see what's opening within you.
Right. Instead of trying to force something that your mind or your ego wants.
So it can be a lot of fun, right? But it's more about exploring and playing.
Right. Okay. So Myrna says healing, absolutely. And by the way, healing, another form of healing mediumship happens to be Reiki, any kind of hands-on healing that you do where you call on spirit. We did a video on that. Starcy said messaging, and Wild Magic says, I use cards so I can be all, it's in the cards, man. It's not me. When they get tough with peeps, as I can just download into their face and they would think it was me. Yeah, it's a little bit, it'll kind of easier to sometimes have that buffer for different clients if they get too caught up in the message or how the message is being delivered. Most of the time, if you're using cards, most of it is going to be more for the client's benefit than it is your benefit, because most of us know that we can do it without the cards. And that's again, the skill building. So cards are a wonderful tool to use. And yes, it can be a great buffer for clients. Message mediumships and healing. Absolutely, Denise. Awesome. Val says, I have cards that I use as well. Love it. Wild Magic says, most of my work is hands-on with intuitive work, so that would fall under healing. The rest tends to be guide work, Q.H.T., or journeying. Are you more excited now that you have these tips?
So we want to know, have we cleared some mysteries or busted some myths for you?
It is a revolution. We are fighting back against lost fairies and unicorns running amok.
Oh, God.
Causing chaos and wreaking havoc.
We do love them both, but sometimes they drink too much love and light and puke rainbow frosting all over the carpet, which is super hard to get out.
And we want to shout out one of our Zen heads. We love to give back those who give to us. So Jennifer shared her experience with us on the Google machine.
Basically, Jennifer said, I absolutely love the comprehensive perspective and compassionate teaching style. I love that you take into consideration the well-being of the student and how that can impact the quality of the knowledge gained. This is more than an investment in a simple course. You will find support here and way more than just your average teachings. You will be supported in the process of your learning and grow as a person. Go for it. She's talking about Zen Ed Academy, the group we're going to tell you about in just a minute, because now it is offer time.
Yep. It is time for that offer to take your metaphysical business from basic to bodacious, but only if it works for you.
So we have learned that self-growth and developing your superpowers go together like sushi, Sapporo, and sake.
And that is why we created our signature subscription membership, Zen Ed Academy.
So let's find out if this is right for you. So is this right for you? Are you tired of mediumship advice that is way too complicated?
Are you tired of people telling you that the intuitive arts are satanic or alien? Are you ready for psychic and mediumship training that does not scare the crap out of you? If so, Zen Ed Academy is the rebel base. Rebel base. Gotta love the rebel base, where the revolution begins.
So Zen Ed Academy is where the science of self-growth meets the magic of mysticism. So Zen Ed Academy is our inner circle, basically, where we jack you into the ZRG mainframe so you can finally conquer your inner supervillain.
Omar says, as a Zen Ed Academy student, I can second that. All of that info is down below. If you like this video, hit that like button.
And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. That's where we get ideas for new videos.
And for more mind hacking pro tips,
be sure to subscribe
and click the bell to turn notifications on,
so you're the first to know
when we drop a new video
or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and precious resource, and the fact that you guys have chosen to spend that with us, we absolutely honor and appreciate that. But most importantly, that you're here to level up your life and your skills and take your business and your life to a whole new level. We honor and appreciate that even more. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next video.